Hi, welcome to Yogipreneur. My name is Alina and today we have a video about Yoga Alliance. Before we start getting into this topic, remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so that you don't miss out on the future videos. They're coming your way every single Tuesday. And always drop a comment to let me know what you think about the videos. This is the only way I'll know what you guys want and what you guys think about it and what should I be doing differently or the same for the next videos. Good, let's get started. So first of all, why I want to touch on this topic, what is Yoga Alliance? We all know this name. We all know that it's kind of an organization, but then beyond that, most of the people just go blank. Why do you need it really? What is happening there? What is Yoga Alliance really? So when I just had an idea to do this video, I started researching and realized that I'm kind of the same way. I have no idea why I need it. What is it? I remember when I first got into a teacher training and I heard this, that there's an organization, in my mind, automatically, okay, there's an organization, I have to be a part of it because, it's like the official, whatever that means, organization. And I was like, and I kind of never went past that. I never educated myself on Yoga Alliance before preparing for this video. So it was actually pretty cool for me as well. And I hope you enjoy the information. First of all, the official statement on their website, what that is. And I'll read it from my list today. Yoga Alliance is the largest nonprofit association representing the yoga community. Our mission is to promote and support the integrity and diversity of the teaching of yoga. This is it. That's the core of Yoga Alliance. This is an organization that supposedly protects the integrity of the yoga teaching, and it creates some sort of a yoga community. Let's say that's kind of put the boundaries on the yoga community. That's why it was created. There are some myths surrounding it, that one of them being that you have to be a part of it. It's not true. So here are 4 things that you have to understand clearly. Being registered with Yoga Alliance is not required to be a yoga teacher. Being registered with Yoga Alliance is not required to teach yoga, to actually be in the classroom with people. Being a part of Yoga Alliance is not required to create and teach your yoga teacher training. Even though it might seem like it, and a lot of people believe that this is a requirement, no. You do not, there's no rule that tells you that you're not a yoga teacher unless you're a part of this organization. As a matter of fact, there are plenty of amazing yoga teachers somewhere in India, in Rishikesh, or literally anywhere in the world that have never heard of Yoga Alliance, and they have absolutely amazing teaching, and they are someone you might want to study from. So no, Yoga Alliance does not mean that you are a yoga teacher, and being a yoga teacher doesn't mean that you have to be a part of this organization. So this thing, you have to get it absolutely straight. Now, as any organization, Yoga Alliance meets a lot of criticism. There are a lot of negative things that people say about it and a lot of positive things about it. And the main negative thing is really, why are we paying this organization? No one really knows what the money is going for. I was looking for it. They were actually pretty upfront with their financial statements up until the year 2017. And this is the last year that is listed on their website. Anything after 2017, there are no reports, there are no financial statements. So really, for example, I have no idea where my money went, since I have been paying after the 2017 for Yoga Alliance as well to maintain my membership and to upgrade my status as well. I have no idea where this money went. So, and a lot of people are asking why do we have to pay for it? And especially that brings me to the second point, where a lot of people are being very, very negative about it. What does it mean to be a registered yoga teacher? Truthfully, there is really nothing that is happening once you become a registered yoga teacher. I think in my entire career, only one studio ever asked me about whether I'm registered with Yoga Alliance or not. And I honestly don't think that they would not have hired me if I said I'm not registered. So again, it's up to different studios. But most of the people, most of the studio owners, most studio managers, they don't really care. So it doesn't increase your chances of getting a job. It doesn't make you more eligible or less eligible to get a job. So what does this registered mean? So the word register also doesn't indicate whether you're a good teacher or a bad teacher, really, because as we'll go further, you'll see that there's certain requirements, but those requirements only state the minimum of what a yoga teacher should know. And even with that, knowledge is really not everything. There are amazing teachers that have never studied, and then there are teachers who have studied their entire life, and I would not want to study from them. So it's really, what is this registered thing, you know? Why are we paying for being called registered? And this is the main question and the main concern that people have with Yoga Alliance. And if you have that concern as well, explore further, and if you can't justify paying to this organization and being a part of it, then again, going back to what we talked about before, feel free to not be a part of it. You're not required to be a part of it to be called a yoga teacher. You're not required to be a part of it to teach people at all. But there are a lot of supporters of this organization as well. The main positive, and this is something that I find for myself as well very important, that this is, at the moment, this is the only organization that puts some kind of boundaries, some kind of guidelines, something that we can go off. There's nothing else controlling yoga world. This is it. Yoga is so different. There's so many different types of yoga, styles of yoga. There's so many ways to teach yoga. There's physical practice, there's spiritual practice. We need those guidelines, we need those boundaries just to have the minimum. You know, what is it that a person should know to be called a yoga teacher? And Yoga Alliance provides us with that. From this, you can understand that whoever is registered with Yoga Alliance and being called register, the least you know about them is that they meet the minimum requirements of knowledge that a yoga teacher should have, which should be kind of comforting, I guess, for a student and for studio owners if you are one of them and you're looking for new teachers. So with that being said, Yoga Alliance and Yoga Alliance website in particular kind of acts as this list, as the registry of all the teachers that meet this requirement. So if you want to check information about someone, this is a good place to check. But again, the information might not be accurate for a number of reasons. And Yoga Alliance requires you to log in the hours that you've taught. There is a certain calculator of how many years you've been registered, but those hours, you know, you can forget sometimes, or you can log in more than you've taught, which I really hope no one does, and I hope you don't do it. But technically you could do it. And also there are people who have been teaching for way longer than they have been registered with Yoga Alliance. And so these things that Yoga Alliance show in their registry, those points, those check marks, they might not be accurate, but at least this is something. Another really, really good thing about Yoga Alliance is that it creates a sense of community, a sort of community. And yoga is all about community, really. So you might find it very comforting, especially as a new yoga teacher, to see what other yogis are there in your areas. Maybe there's some meetings that are being created through Yoga Alliance in your area, and that might really help you, especially in the beginning of your journey, and maybe you make lifelong friends or something like this. So community is a huge part of the yoga world, and Yoga Alliance provides that as well. If you want to do it, if you want to kind of research and step on that path and be a part of their community, they're giving it to you. I was about to say for free. Well, not for free, but still, they're giving it to you. Let's talk about a Yoga Alliance structure a little bit. If you decide that you might want to join Yoga Alliance at any point of your career, maybe not from the very beginning, maybe from the very beginning, I always suggest that you keep that option open for yourself. And for that, you absolutely need to graduate from at least one registered yoga school. And there are also different types and levels of registered yoga schools. We're not going to get into this today. Just know that you can always check on their website, just like for the teachers. They also kind of have a list, the registry for all the schools that meet their requirements. And you can look up the schools by location in the area. And so you want to graduate from a school that is recognized by Yoga Alliance to eventually have a chance to be able to be recognized by Yoga Alliance as well. Yoga Alliance has a very particular structure for teachers, and it kind of almost like a hierarchy when you start from the bottom and make your way up. And the first step is RYT 200, Registered Yoga Teacher 200, which simply means that you have completed your 200-hour certification. And to become a registered yoga teacher 200, you don't really need anything else. All you have to do, the entire application process, is to submit your application. There's going to be a certain amount of money you would have to pay, then send in your certification that your school gives you, and that's it. You become a registered yoga teacher 200. From that point on, you're a part of this organization. If you want to kind of move up this ladder, the next step will probably be for you experienced registered yoga teacher 200. And again, this means that the only certification that you have to have is a 200-hour certification, which will allow you to register with the Yoga Alliance to begin with. And on top of that, that means that you have been teaching, or you have been registered with Yoga Alliance, which for them teaching for 2 years, for at least 2 years, and you've taught at least 1,000 hours. These requirements are not hard to meet within 2 years. If you are even a part-time teacher, you will definitely meet those requirements, and maybe even in terms of the hours, you might even meet it earlier than 2 years. So it's not something really hard to achieve. Again, going back to that, Yoga Alliance states the minimum. So this is kind of like the minimum that tells you, okay, you have a little bit more experience than those registered yoga teacher 200 who just got out of the training, and you can, maybe you're a little bit better at verbally saying things, or I don't know, moving and adjusting people, but really those are all assumptions. Nothing here tells us that you're better at this once you become an experienced registered yoga teacher, but it just states that you're a little bit higher up there. The next stage would be for you is to become a registered yoga teacher 500. And that means that you have completed your 500-hour certification. There are actually a few ways you can do it, and some people go right off the bat and they start with the 500 certification. Those who completed the 500 certification right away without separate 200-hour, those people can register and become registered yoga teacher 500 right away, because the only thing that you really need to become registered yoga teacher 500 is that 500-hour certification. No experience required, no time elapsed since you've been registered with Yoga Alliance, none of that. So you can either go ahead and do 500-hour certification right away, or you can do your 200-hour and then maybe work for a little bit and then go into 300-hour, and that's going to be your 500-hour. Again, as you can see, it's kind of shaky here because some registered yoga teacher 500 can be less experienced than experienced registered yoga teacher 200. So it's really tricky which one. There's no better or worse, let's put it that way. They put registered yoga teacher 500 a little bit higher, but in reality it's just kind of, sort of the same. With that being said, there's another separate level that they put is being together experienced registered yoga teacher 200 and registered yoga teacher 500. So that means that you have your 500-hour certificate, plus you have that time, you have at least 2 years of experience or have been at least registered with Yoga Alliance for 2 years, and you have 1,000 hours that you have already taught 1,000 hours of teaching experience. Next step, and this is the highest step that you can get to in this Yoga Alliance ladder, is Experienced Registered Yoga Teacher 500. Similar to Experienced Registered Yoga Teacher 200, the only thing that changes from the previous one is that you need 4 years that you have to be registered with Yoga Alliance and at least 2,000 hours of teaching experience. The top level that Yoga Alliance states gives for the teachers is 4 years of experience, 2,000 hours of teaching. That's it. This is your maximum, and 500 hours of certification. This is maximum. And any yoga teacher who have been teaching for, I don't know, over 3 or 4 years, they'll tell you if this is your full-time job, by year 4, you will probably have way more hours of trainings, way more hours of teaching, and the experience is just going to grow with time, and no one is tracking that beyond that. So those teachers who are way beyond being Experienced Registered Yoga Teacher 500, they're kind of, if they're still paying for Yoga Alliance, they're just paying to Yoga Alliance, really, because this doesn't accurately show their level of expertise at all. This is just kind of the main outline. There are 2 more levels that Yoga Alliance kind of separates, and this is Registered Children Yoga Teacher and Registered Prenatal Yoga Teacher. And for those, you have to go to a separate school. You have to complete your 200-hour certification and then go into a Registered Children's Yoga School. To teach children, you need 95 hours. To teach pregnant women prenatal yoga, you would need 85 hours of that. Again, not hard to get. And on top of those certifications, those 2 also require 30 hours of teaching experience, which is pretty much just 30 classes. You will get it within a couple of months tops. And that's how you can become registered with Yoga Alliance with those 2 specialty levels. This is it. These are all kind of the badges. And once you are registered for all those, you get those little badges that say that, okay, now you're a Registered Yoga Teacher 200, now you're Experienced Registered Yoga Teacher 200, and so on and so forth. So once you get all those, there's nothing else you can get from Yoga Alliance in terms of like your status, in terms of getting higher up there. That's it. You're at the top. And even though this is still a very, very basic level, for them, this is the top. This is the ceiling. You can't go higher. So now that you know the structure, just a few words about the application process, which is really simple. You just literally apply. They have a form up there for every single one of those levels, and application costs $50. Even if you are already registered and you just want to upgrade, you still have to pay those $50. You have to pay $65 every single year as membership dues. So if, for example, you're just starting with Yoga Alliance and this is your first time applying and paying, your total cost is going to be $115. And that's something that you want to consider just, in terms of like financial investment. Are you ready to invest that, or do you want to kind of wait a little bit when you start teaching, when you start getting money, and then you can invest in Yoga Alliance? To maintain your Yoga Alliance membership, as I already said, you will have to pay $65 every single year. And you also want to continue your education, which is, they call it CU credits, continuing education credits. You need 75 of those within 3 years. So every 3 years, they are tracking whether you have been continuing your education. And it's kind of weird because in those 75 hours, they include 45 hours of teaching experience. So you have to teach, let's say, 45 classes. And it doesn't matter if it's private or if it's in the classroom setting. It really doesn't matter. You just log them on. It's just 45 hours, something that you can definitely do within 3 years. And then the rest 30 is the actual continuing education, 20 out of which you can log in by saying that you read a book or you were doing this and this and that to kind of advance your knowledge, or I think you can even say about traveling. Don't quote me on that because I'm not sure, but I think I saw it. If, for example, you travel to Rishikesh and that's an educational experience in terms of yoga, you can also put it kind of there. And then you need at least 10 hours of being in the classroom and actually getting some kind of new knowledge, which a lot of workshops offer this CU credits. And obviously, if you decide to level up your training, so for example, you are at the 200 level and you want to upgrade to 500 level, you're going to take your 300-hour certificate, and obviously that's going to be more than 30 continued education credits, and you can just log that in. So it's doable. Everything that they give you, everything that they want you to provide, all that information, it's on a very basic level. You're not going to have to work hard to achieve all those kind of goals or milestones or anything. This is just the minimum requirement, and this is so important to understand. So as literally any organization has, Yoga Alliance has some benefits. Obviously, since you're paying, they kind of want to give you back something. And those benefits, they include different discounts for yoga apparel, for yoga props, for even some trainings. For some services, you would get some kind of discount for creating your own website. They also have an insurance, and we talked about that in another video. I'm going to link it below, and I'm going to link it up in the cards here as well, so that you can make sure that you watched it. Insurance is very, very important. Yoga Alliance is one of the places where you can obtain that at a fair price, let's put it that way. And they also always extend their pool of kind of partners. So they send newsletter every single month and update you on all the new discounts, all the new membership perks. They definitely, I don't want to say they're doing an excellent job on that, but they're always improving. They're always doing a decent job, and that you can always kind of find something useful through that. So with all that being said, I know that it's a lot of information, but I really hope that it helped you understand a little bit better what is this organization. You can decide for yourself if you want to be a part of it, if you don't want to be a part of it. I honestly don't have any recommendations in that sense, other than you do want to have an option to be registered with it. So try to have at least one certificate that would allow you to register with it. Maybe not now, maybe later, just to have that on the table, just to have that available for you at some point of your life. But remember, not being a part of this organization doesn't make you a bad teacher. It doesn't make you not a teacher. You're still a yoga teacher, and you can still be an amazing yoga teacher without Yoga Alliance. Thank you so much for watching this video, for spending this time with me. I hope it was helpful. Drop the comment below and let me know if you have any more questions. And remember to subscribe. Remember to hit the bell. We have new videos coming out every single Tuesday, and I hope to see you back here soon.